make a brief stop at the Atomic Wrangler, where the booze is cheaper, the table's more friendly, and the women are just like the booze.
Hello and welcome. In today's video, we shall be exploring Freeside's seedy underbelly in a quest of procuring the weirdest and wildest escorts Caps can buy in Fallout New Vegas titled Wang Dang Atomic Tango. And we'll also be finding out what happens when you wrangle each of the unique sex workers, as there is a rather salacious reward.
Hungry? Thirsty? Horny? The Atomic Wrangler has you covered.
To begin the quest, we find ourselves strolling through Freeside's East Gate on the way to Mick and Ralph's, and a ghoul vagrant named Rotface beckons to us.
Hey.
Begging.
Hey, buddy. Spare a cap? I can make it worth your while.
Yeah, I've got a cap. Wait, are you soliciting me? For sex?
Ha ha ha. Oh, that's rich. You're not exactly my type. No offense. No, I meant I could give you a tip. Earn my money, so to speak.
Right. Just the tip. What kind of tip, buddy?
You look like you're new around here, so I'm sure I know all sorts of things you'd find useful. If not, well, it's only a cap. So what do you say?
You're right. It is only a cap. Here you go. Lay it on me.
Caught a rumor the other day that some of the clientele over at the Wrangler have been making some rather strange requests. Stuff like weirdos wanting the services of ghouls and such. I almost have half a mind to volunteer myself, sexy beast that I am. What do you say? Want another tip?
No, I'm good. You're right, though. Your talents are wasted here.
I understand. Well, have a good day.
Now, who am I to judge, but the service of ghouls? Sounds like this Wrangler is, dedicated to fulfilling its clientele's more base needs.
Hey there.
Leaving the sexy beast to sit against his wall and rot. We find ourselves in the southwestern end of Freeside, and under the sign is one of the Atomic Wranglers' scantily clad crier who provocatively advertises.
Hey, baby, head on down to the Atomic Wrangler if you want to have a good time.
As alluring as a get-up is, can't help but notice the schmutz on the kitchen knife, meaning it's probably been in use recently. Heading down the pavement, we see the neon sign of a cowboy riding an atom. Below it, the Atomic Wrangler Casino in bright lights. Entering the casino, we find ourselves in a lounge and the promised Garrett's behind the bar. Approaching the brother James Garrett, he welcomes.
Welcome to the Atomic Wrangler. What can I get you?
I heard that some of your clientele have made some strange requests and you may need some help.
We've got the basics covered, but now you mention it, we have had unusual requests from some of our wealthier customers. If you can recruit escorts to match these customers' proclivities, I'd be willing to pay you finder's fees.
I can't help but notice you emphasized proclivities. What sort of proclivities are we talking about?
Our wealthiest client has a thing for ghouls and a thing for cowboys. He wants an escort who can satisfy both fetishes. Plenty of customers have said they'd be willing to pay extra for a suave talker, someone who can fake the boyfriend experience real good. And then there's these disgusting robot fetishists you may have heard about. Well, those creeps want a sexbot. If you ever run across a sexbot, not that I'd ever want one within 100 feet of me, but I gotta be a businessman about it.
Oh, I hear about creeps and those sexbots. Now, it's here that we have a couple of options ahead of us. If we tell James that we're not going to be his pimp, he quickly corrects.
Oh, I'd still be the pimp. You'd just be my pissant recruiter is all. Let me know if you change your mind.
Glad we got that sorted. Now, we can just say that we'll look for suitable candidates, however, we would be foregoing the opportunity to make more money. So instead, we respond, I'll expect 100 caps minimum for each candidate I bring in. I mean, he did say that they were wealthy customers, right?
Just don't rough up the merchandise before delivery. You break it, you bought it.
We can then take it a step further with speech 40 by saying, surely these escorts are critical to your business. How about double? You must really want those escorts.
Okay, you got yourself a deal. Find escorts to fill the positions, and I'll pay double.
Look, I'll see if I can run across any suitable candidates.
Just direct them to the Wrangler. I'll pay you when they show up. Talk to you later.
This begins the quest, Wang Dang Atomic Wrangler, where we're tasked with recruiting a sexbot, a suave talker, and a real ghoul cowboy, presumably somewhere around the Freeside area. Heading outside the Wrangler, we see the Crier once more and briefly consider if we had exposed her to enough rads we could find ourselves the ghoul cowboy, but that's probably a lot less ethical than our already morally questionable recruiting of escorts, and too risky anyway. Heading back towards Mick and Ralph's in the East Gate to find Rotface, the sexy beast who probably knows where to find a ghoul if we can't convince him, it's then we're accosted by some Freeside thugs who clearly have some pent-up aggression and perhaps should be pointed towards the Wrangler.
Like that?
So then we find on a nearby wall a vagrant sitting in a pile of empty bottles and think perhaps we found a smooth talker. As we greet him, he simply sputters. Admittedly not ideal. Heading past Mick and Ralph's, we find Rotface sitting against a wall. However, seems like a tussle has broken out across the street, and he runs inside a nearby building to protect what little flesh he has still hanging on his bones. Interrupting his cowering by some dumpsters, he recognizes us and questions.
Ah, my favorite customer. Got a cap for me?
When we explain that we have the cap that he requires and perhaps many more if he's willing to do some escort work and dress up as a cowboy down at the Atomic Wrangler, he instead cryptically muses.
In the area between the north and east gates is the old Mormon fort, where the followers of the apocalypse have set themselves up. The followers aren't a bad bunch, and provide healing and supplies to the people of Freeside as they can. That one was pretty good, right? How about another? I understand. Well, have a good day. Watch out!
Leaving confused and pretty irritated that instead of talking about what we asked, he instead pointed us towards the Mormon fort of the followers of the apocalypse back near Freeside Southwestern Gate. We're assaulted by thugs once more. Taking care of the crazed delinquents, it suddenly strikes us that perhaps Rotface was giving us a clue instead of simply telling us we need healing, and so head towards the fort's large double doors. Once inside, we're surprised to see a female cowboy who saunters over to the guard sentry seat by the front of the gate. Upon closer inspection, we see she's not badly injured as first suspected and in need of healing from the followers who are known for their altruistic ways, but instead a ghoulified cowboy. Approaching her, she greets.
Howdy.
So, who are you?
I've been around a while. Currently working for the followers as a gun for hire, but it's getting rather dull. Aside from protecting them from the occasional thug looking to intercept supply shipments, there isn't much to do around here. The one researcher I liked who I could chat up about liquor got transferred, and the rest of the docs are pretty uptight about my kind of fun.
Your kind of fun, eh? Seems like you're missing out on some excitement. What are you doing with the followers then?
I joined up looking for a decent paying job. Granted, the pay's all right, but they won't let me kick back and slog a brew at the end of the day. They're worried the filthy drunkies in detox seeing me drink will cause an immediate relapse. I say their rehab effort here is just a revolving door.
Well, that's certainly one take on curing addiction. Oh, I bet you've seen a lot over the years.
I've been around long enough to observe the patterns of human behavior. Physical and mental anguish are especially exciting to explore.
Interestingly, both of our responses here will lead to the same dialogue from Beatrix, in which we can say, well, that's a bit cryptic though. If I didn't know any better, I'd say it sounds like you're a bit of a dom, Beatrix.
Hey, who doesn't enjoy a little pinch and squeal every once in a while?
Oh, really? Say, would you be interested in working for the Garretts? It's a lot more fun than sitting around here.
They already have that pig McCaffrey working for them. Do they need another guard?
No, you misunderstand. This would be as an escort.
I've escorted my share of idiot tourists around Freeside. Too much trouble for what it pays.
My apologies. I need to make this clearer. When I say escort, I mean prostitute. For money, sex. Pinch and squeal, yes?
I'm all boot, knives, and leather, friend. And a ghoul besides. What kind of weirdo wants what I've got?
Actually, turns out there are customers looking for someone just like you. I'm talking the cowboy outfit, pinch and squeal, the whole kit and caboodle.
Weirdos into bullwhips and necrosis, huh? Doesn't sound half bad. What am I thinking? I'm no whore. And I ain't about to hand my ass over to some penny ante hustler like he owns me.
It's here we have multiple ways to try and recruit Beatrix, though we'll start with the one option that doesn't require any dialogue skill checks or items, saying, "Come on, Beatrix. You could be the next big thing at the Wrangler."
I've never been much of a showboat, or cared about being a public figure. I'm plenty content with caps for an honest hard day's work.
Come on, you're not content. And it's not like you'd be a slave. You get to choose your clients.
What's the difference? Once you start working for the man, you gotta buy nice things to wear. Then you gotta make more money to afford nice things. Seems like a right vicious cycle to get into.
No, you misunderstand. The difference is you'll be paid well, and room and board is on the house.
Not saying there wouldn't be advantages, especially if it let me start saving up my caps.
It's here we run into the item or dialogue skill check problem. So to cover those three options, the top two options have the same outcome and both require either barter or speech 35, and we can reply. Did I tell you one of the employee perks is a discount?
They do have a damn good selection of hooch over at the Wrangler.
You'd be an independent with a deep discount on the booze, maybe.
If I get to choose my customers, if I get to be a little rough with them, if my cut is fair, and if I get that discount, that just might work.
Although this succeeds, funnily enough, if you're carrying a bottle of Jacob's absinthe on your person, you can shake the bottle of alluring liquor in front of what used to be Beatrix's nose, and she salivates.
Absinthe? Haven't had a taste of that in decades. If they keep bottles stocked at the Wrangler, hey, you can count me in. I'll head that way and talk to Mr. Garrett.
Mr. Garrett, how her tune has changed.
Bye.
Heading back to James Garrett at the bar, standing in front of a paltry selection of liquor we hope will fulfill Beatrix's needs, he greets.
Welcome back. What can I get you?
Good news. I actually found you an escort who's a ghoul and a cowboy. How good's that?
Imagine that. What's his name and when's he start?
He? Well, that would have been Rotface, but he's not interested. Her name's Beatrix, and she starts immediately. In fact, she's on the way over here, and I'd hide the absinthe if I was you.
A she, huh? Well, I guess the customer who made that request can't get everything he wants. Hell, who knows? He might not even notice the difference. Yep.
Turning, we see Beatrix's flesh exposed, literally, in a full dominatrix leather getup, sticky tape covering her nipples, and chains adorned across her chest with a spiked collar, though she immediately sits down at the bar to get a drink, which we expect nothing less at this point. Speaking to the ghoul, we can see she's wisely carrying a revolver for protection, or as a prop to be used, 50-50 at this point, and she greets.
Howdy.
Now remember when I said what happens when you recruit escorts for the Wrangler at the start of the video? Well, there's actually a perk, and it's not all the same, and I do want to say that just quickly, where once recruited, we can ask for their services, saying, So, Beatrix, hope you're settling in. Look, I'm in the market for something a little unusual, and your eyes are looking quite dull, and there's a new glint in your eye that I find quite alluring.
Then you'll need to get a room first, sweetie. You're gonna want the privacy. Talk to you later.
It should quickly be noted James doesn't actually offer rooms, and to get one you have to speak to his sister, who works the day shift. Speaking to Francine Garrett, she greets.
Welcome to the Atomic Wrangler. What can I get you?
Well, to be honest, I'm looking for a little bit of R&R, if you catch my drift.
Since you're new, I'll lay out the rules for you. The prostitutes here aren't slaves. They decide who they service. You best make a good first impression if you want what they have to offer. Rooms are just a few caps a night. Your choice of company is extra, assuming anyone's taken a liking to you.
Then, aren't slaves and I have to pay for a room? Fine. I'd like a room, please. Here's the caps.
Just a few caps and it's yours. Up the steps, last room on the left. If you leave the Wrangler, we'll assume you're checking out. Yep.
Approaching Beatrix with a room, she asserts.
I'm available, sweetie, but you'll have to do as I say.
Ooh, sounds good to me. I want to say yes, Mummy, but it's just killing me here.
Meet me upstairs. I'll try to leave you in one piece.
Sprinting up the stairs with our Eddie companion, hopefully wondering if he has some type of recording function, we find ourselves in the far room and get more comfortable, though keep the cowboy hat on because obviously it's cowboy themed. Soon, the lovely Dom Beatrix joins us. And it should quickly be noted two things. Number one,
That
Obsidian
prick
didn't hold
Benny
back with
had
the
it
ambient
coming.
sex sounds up in this part of the Wrangler. Number two, the quest was designed by Robert Lee, who also wrote the characters within it, and he initially wanted there to be a super mutant prostitute, but this was turned down by the development team and Beatrix Russell was the replacement. Can you imagine? Now, in terms of what happens when you fulfill this quest, every single escort that you do recruit does have a different fade to black moment, and Beatrix, being the ghoul she is, if you get into bed with her, the screen will slowly fade to black, and you'll only hear what transpires, which is honestly terrifying. Amazingly, finding ourselves in one piece after the encounter, Beatrix looks, well, less than thrilled with what has transpired as she bolts back down to the bar to drink away her sorrows and the pain, while we can't help but feel a little impotent and in need of a cuddle after this experience. Re-equipping our clothes, we then head outside to find this suave talker. Now, it should quickly be noted that one of these suave talkers doesn't really interact with you the way the other escorts do, and it's going to make sense very soon. So first, let's hire the quote-unquote dud escort by heading towards the strip's gate. And it's there we find old Ben sitting by a fire.
Yep.
Now, we remember old
Hello
Ben
again.
as he was quite the helpful gentleman in his suit, and as compared to the other inhabitants of Freeside who've tried to gun us down ad nauseum, he actually warned us against going into the strip's gate. Approaching arresting Ben, he greets.
Hello again.
So Ben, you seem the friendly type. What's your story?
I've done a bit of everything around here. Courier, butcher, crier, escort, gun for hire. Some of which I'm not proud of, but I do my best to help around town when needed.
Wait, you said escort, like armed guard or...
Well, I suppose you could look at it that way, but I was packing a whole different kind of heat. No, escort just sounds better than man-whore.
Now, ostensibly this seems perfect, and we can ask him, so you got paid for sex? We're not beating around the bush here.
Yep. I was damn good at my job, too. But after a while, I just felt like a piece of meat and had to quit.
We can also kind of shame him, which is funny, and say, oh, I could never do that. Be a hooer, that is.
Well, I didn't have any other career opportunities open to me at the time, and had to make ends meet. I was good at it, too. But after a while, I just felt like a piece of meat and had to quit.
This will open the dialogue branch of offering him a job, and we can say, how would you like to work for the Garretts?
I'm retired, but life has been a bit dull without some kind of action. What's the job?
James Garrett needs a real boyfriend experience for more discerning patrons. Sounds right up your alley.
Ah, I get you. So you think because of my past escort work, I'd be interested in that kind of thing. I got out of that work because it just made me feel empty inside. What makes you think I would ever go back to that degradation?
Now again, there are 3 options, 2 of which require speech checks, but first let's try out good old persuasion, saying, well, the pay is good and you can make your own hours, plus you're not sitting on the ground outside.
Sorry, friend, but I just can't do it.
Now just quickly, you can use Confirmed Bachelor as a male or Black Widow as a female as one of the options. I may have added both via console to see what happened, and Black Widow overrode Confirmed Bachelor even though my character is male, so forgive me there, but basically you get the same outcome, saying, then you give your clients a precious respite from the ills of the world.
I never put much thought into the well-being my clients got out of my services. I suppose they only get as much as I put into it.
And perhaps my favourite is with over 50 speech, you can glaze the old gentleman saying, Ben, think about it. You're a beacon of light in some people's depressing existence. Your work is art.
You know what? You're right. I looked at the whole thing from the wrong angle. I suppose I could be a loving muse to some, while simply relieve stress and tension in others. Thanks for that insight. Tell Garrett I'd be happy to start at the Wrangler immediately. This should be a nice change of pace from retirement.
Giving old Ben's ass a smack, he scoots down to the Wrangler and we head on inside behind him. Ben, already at the bar and deep in his cup, has settled in nicely.
Hey.
And we speak to James again, who greets.
Welcome back. What can I get you?
You wanted a smooth talker for an escort? Found you one.
And who would that be?
Old Ben has the experience and skill you need. Plus he's what, 47? Being the oldest escort to ever grace Freeside and still have all his teeth?
I've heard some stories of that old guy. I'm amazed he's still alive with how much he's been through. If the stories are true, he'll be a valuable commodity here at the Wrangler. I appreciate the find.
Now, here's the rub. Or lack thereof. If you go to greet old Ben again, in the Wrangler, he'll simply say,
Hello again.
And that's the end of his dialogue. There is no specialized encounter with Ben. He has begrudgingly taken up the work and wants to make it art or whatever we said to lie to him to get him to become a whore. But he won't have sex with us. And as Francine had previously stated, we can't enslave the escorts or force them to spend the night with us. So instead, we can look for an alternate smooth talker. Heading back to the east of Freeside, towards Mick and Ralph's, we find the old vagrant once more and see if he's learned any of those people skills needed. However, all he can seem to share is some unwanted bodily fluids. Much like old Ben, in the building that he's sitting against is a man in a dapper suit and again with a manicured goatee.
Yep.
Who greets.
How are you today? Santiago is fabulous.
Who's you're Santiago, and you're fabulous. That's quite the descriptor. Say, James Garrett is looking for a suave escort. You seem to know words good. You interested in some work?
I'm honored they would consider me. I'll start immediately.
Well, that was easy.
See ya.
With zero resistance, Santiago then saunters his way over to the Wrangler. Once inside the Wrangler, unlike the others, we don't find Santiago at the bar, but instead enjoying the show by the lounge.
Welcome back. What can I get you?
Returning to James, we tell him this time we've got your real smooth talker, Santiago.
And who would that be?
Trust me, Santiago's your man.
That honey-mouthed son of a bitch? Fine. At least left to shut up occasionally. Those pretty lips of his are gonna see more traffic than a Brahmin trail in low summer.
Well, that was incredibly graphic.
Talk to you later.
Though it seems accurate. As we turn, we see Santiago has settled in and is now seated wearing his new getup, being a vested coat with a sheriff's star, leather S&M gear, some cut-off jean shorts, and cowboy boots. Checking in on him, Santiago doubles down.
How are you today? Santiago is fabulous.
There's that fabulous again. Tell you what, Santiago, I'd like to hire you for a bit.
Santiago is sorry, but you must have a room first. Please, see Miss Garrett to procure lodging. Bye.
Once again, we can see Miss Garrett procure a room and then head back to Santiago, this time with lodgings ready, and he'll instead inform.
Santiago is here to please, my prairie flower. Just a few caps, and I'm yours.
25... James better be right about those lips. It's time to hit the Brahmin trail, Santiago. Vamonos!
I'll meet you upstairs in a moment, darling. Bye.
Heading upstairs and disrobing once more, Santiago asserts his dominance by heading to our side of the bed. And what happens when we join him? Well, perhaps an even more disturbing sound than with Beatrix. However, unlike Beatrix, who ran to the bar, Santiago seems to have enjoyed himself and continues to nap. A little bit more of a confidence booster. With 2 escorts down and 1 to go, we head back to James Garrett, and he says,
Welcome back. What can I get you?
questioning him about where to find this sexbot for his, quote, disgusting robot fetishists and creeps, he guides.
The best place to start would be with Ralph, at Mick and Ralph's over on the east end of Freeside. Other than that, your guess is as good as mine. Yep.
With that handy clue, we make our way over to the east side of Freeside, into Mick and Ralph's. But not before bumping into one of the guards that oddly warns.
Yeah? You hear about that band of crazy old ladies running around? I hear they're real vicious when they mug folks.
No, I haven't heard of old ladies that mug folks. That's strange. Heading over to Mick and Ralph's, the eponymous Ralph then greets from behind the counter.
Pimpin' ain't easy, huh? Maybe if you find some decent talent, I'll start visiting the Wrangler more often.
Well, it looks like my reputation precedes me. Would you happen to know where I could find a sexbot, perchance?
Are you some kind of machine fetishist or something?
Not for me personally. The Garretts are looking to satisfy certain customers.
Well, the only place I know of locally would be Cerulean Robotics. But that place has been overrun by vermin for years. If you want to check the place out, you can find it on the west side of Freeside. The entrance is on the back side of the building. Just watch out for thugs. The rats aren't the only vermin you need to worry about.
We could simply thank Ralph and head to Cerulean Robotics. However, to make our lives easier, we can enlist his help saying, is there a holotape or anything I'll need for the sexbot?
I don't know of any, but if you give me a few days and some caps, I think I could probably make one on my terminal.
It's here we're presented with multiple options. The 3 speech checks are actually barter and speech 35, which allows us to purchase the holotape for 100 caps, saying, Ralph, I've been a loyal customer to you and Mick. How about 100 caps?
Alright, come back in a couple days, and I should have it ready for you.
However, if you have speech over 50 and you don't want to pay, you can say, Ralph, I've been directing a lot of business in your direction. Call it a favor.
Alright, come back in a couple days, and I should have it ready for you.
Returning in 24 hours, Ralph will then have holotape in hand.
Yep, here you go. You'll need to use a terminal to upload the data to the robot. Come back anytime.
Heading back to the Wrangler, the Cerulean Robotics entrance is not the easiest place to find. You have to keep heading north-northwest to the final building before the rubble, and then sneaking through the back door. Then looping around a wide arc amongst the discarded remnants and buildings behind Freeside's main drag, we find a large U-shaped building. Once inside, as promised, there's vermin aplenty. Searching the building, we can actually find, by a television and the remains of a skeleton in its hand, a key. Disposing of the giant rats that loiter the building, we'll then find a workstation floor with some broken down protectrons in the southwestern corner, and a lone protectron that is intact in the southern tube. To activate said protectron, we can either program the console using sufficient science skill, Otherwise, in the northern end of the room, we can open the tool cabinet either by using a lockpick, as it's an average lock, or the key that we found on the skeleton. Inside will be the terminal access card. Whichever way you choose. However, much easier is to simply upload Ralph's sexbot routine, in which it whirs to life and introduces.
Fully integrated security technotronic officer active and reporting for duty.
That's quite a mouthful. Let's shorten that to Fisto.
Yes, sir. Fisto reporting for duty. Please assume the position.
Whoever wrote this quest clearly had fun, as the dialogue branches get pretty wild, as after telling us to assume the position, we can frantically say, "What? No!"
I am programmed for your pleasure. Please assume the position.
No, you got me all wrong. My pleasure is for you to work at the Atomic Wrangler.
Fisto will report to the Atomic Wrangler for further orders.
Report to the Atomic Wrangler. James Garrett is your new owner.
Yes, sir. Protect and serve.
Fisto will then saunter off. However, if we wanted to make sure Garrett's disgusting clientele got their money's worth, we can instead respond, "I suppose I should test you out before I hand you to the Garretts."
Servos active. Operation complete. Thank you for your business.
Unsurprisingly, there are 3 responses to whatever just happened with Fisto, stating either, "Well, that was different,"
Are you uncomfortable? My servos may require adjustment.
or "I can't feel my legs."
Numbness will subside in several minutes. Awaiting further orders.
Or a more enthusiastic, "That all you got, robot?"
I will require a hardware and software upgrade to offer enhanced services.
Otherwise, "No, you performed as intended."
Excellent. Awaiting further orders.
Regardless, Fisto will then trudge off to the Wrangler to meet its new owner, James Garrett. Heading outside, we have quite a wild encounter as 3 grannies assault us.
Lucky what we have here, ladies. Another unsuspecting ponce.
This encounter is only available if you have Wild Wasteland as an active trait, as being ambushed by a group of Maud's muggers will consist of 3 old ladies wearing pre-war spring outfits and armed with rolling pins, attempting to kill you, as this is a reference to the Monty Python skit Hell's Grannies, in which a group of female senior citizens act as a criminal gang and mug random pedestrians. So the guard was right. Reporting back to the Wrangler, we see James Garrett and tell him,
Welcome back. What can I get you?
"Well, Mr. Garrett, I found the sexbot you're looking for."
You did? Ha, damn! I've been looking for one of those for years. For my customers, I mean, I'm not into that kind of shit.
We then have multiple options to respond, seeing his enthusiasm, saying, "The thing is, Fisto's a heavy-duty piece of equipment, built to last."
You're right. Something like this. It's worth a little extra because it's gonna keep on satisfying you. Those disgusting fetishists, I mean. Something wrong with someone if they gotta fuck a machine.
Or, "First, I'd like to discuss payment. This wasn't a cakewalk. There were grannies and rolling pins. I can't feel my legs."
Hey, I'm amazed you even found the thing in the first place. Here is double for your trouble. Those freaky fetishists ought to be satisfied now.
Passing the speech checks will net 150 bottle caps this time. We can also inform an elated Garrett. You know, Fisto is already programmed to respond to your commands.
It is? It will? My God, imagine the possibilities. It didn't happen to come with an owner's manual, did it? Forget it. Trial and error should do it. Looks like that gives us a full roster of new ass to sell. Good work. Enjoy the bonus. Yep.
And finally, we can find Fisto in the back room where the patrons are gambling and tell the robot that we require its services.
Greetings. Fisto is programmed to please. Thank you. I will meet you in your room.
Paying 10 caps, we can meet Fisto upstairs. For one final whirl.
I am programmed for your pleasure. Please assume the position.
with Fisto's revolving components saying, "Woohoo!" and assume the position.
Servos active.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Plus, let me know if you enjoy the New Vegas playthrough and also some of the side quests that really tickle your fancy. Plus, it should quickly be mentioned, we have channel members and Patreon perks for early access to videos. As for us, well, we'll just wait till the feeling comes back into our legs and shimmy on down the stairs to the New Vegas Strip looking for the next adventure.
There.
As always, thanks so much for watching. And until next time, traveler.